This Zoom session is being brought to you by the fractal Heart of Gold forming. Okay, today we finish off chapter 3, so that means the homework, hand in the homework uh, next Thursday or as soon as we can after. This is 3.7 about product to sum and sum to product formulas. Okay, we start off with these angle sum and angle difference formulas. We've discussed them previously. Cosine of alpha plus beta is cos alpha cos beta minus sine alpha sine beta. Cosine of alpha minus beta is cos alpha cos beta plus sine alpha sine beta. Sine of alpha plus beta is sine alpha cos beta plus cos alpha sine beta. And sine of alpha minus beta is sine alpha cos beta minus cos alpha sine beta. Now, if we add these two equations, you get cosine of sum plus cosine of a difference equals these add up to 2 cos alpha cos beta, and these cancel. So cosine of sum plus cosine of difference equals twice cos alpha cos beta. If we subtract them, cos alpha plus beta minus cosine of alpha minus beta, and these two, this cos alpha cos beta cancels, and these add up to -2 sine alpha sine beta. Notice a negative, that'll be unusual amongst these four. If we add up these, sine of alpha plus beta plus sine alpha minus beta, these terms add, these terms cancel, you get twice sine alpha cos beta. And if you subtract them, sine of alpha plus beta minus sine of alpha minus beta, then these cancel and these add up to 2 cos alpha sine beta, excuse me. All right. All right, so I call these the sum and product identities because here are sums of cosines and sines, and here are products of cosines and sines, and plus and minus 2. Now, from here, we can go two ways. We can divide by 2, or minus 2 in this case, and get these products of cosines and sines turned into 1/2 of sums and differences. So if you do that, here we go. Divide these by 2 or minus 2, you get cosine times cosine of 1/2 of cosine of sum plus cosine difference. Sine times sine is minus 1/2 of cosine sum minus cosine difference. This minus makes us the oddball much among the formulas. Sine alpha cos beta is 1/2 of sine of sum plus sine of difference. Cosine times sine is 1/2 of sine of sum minus sine of difference. Actually, these are pretty much the same. If you swap these around and swap alpha and beta, you can turn one of these into the other. So it's not that important, but it works. So these are the product to sum formulas. A product of cosines and sines equals, well, a 1/2 of a sum or a difference. So, okay. Now, if we start from here, and instead we let this alpha plus beta be called U, and this alpha minus beta be called V. Then after a bit of algebra, alpha is their average, U plus V over 2. Beta is U minus V over 2, the half difference. And you plug those into here. Then these formulas turn into these formulas. Cosine U plus cosine V is twice cosine average times cosine of half difference. Cosine U minus cosine V equals minus twice sine of average sine of half difference. Sine U plus sine V equals twice sine average cosine of half difference. Sine U minus sine V is twice cosine average sine of half difference. Now here this minus makes the cosine minus cosine the oddball amongst the four formulas. These four formulas, and again these last two are much the same, are called the sum to product identities. These are particularly useful when we add waves and get beats. So imagine two sine waves, sound waves basically, one with a sine alpha t, sine of beta t, of AT and BT. Okay, so they're two waves with different frequencies. So we add them up, use the sum to product formula, get twice sine of the average A plus B over 2t, cosine of A minus T over 2B. This is the average frequency, and this is the beat frequency. You get a sum that looks like a wave that looks like this. There's a wave with the sine wave, but it's modulated by this much lower cosine wave. Apparently, piano tuners of the classic piano tuners, not digital ones, they would tune a piano that way. He has a middle C tuning fork, hits it, boom, when he hits the middle C key on the piano, and if there's a beat, wow, 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 well, that's this beat frequency. And so he tightens the piano key and hits it again, bow, until the beat fades out into stretches out, bow, whatever. I suppose this is slightly obsolete. I know that nowadays they use electronics. All right, see some examples. Sine of 4 theta, cosine 4 theta. This is a product. I use the product to sum formula. Sine times cosine is half of sine sum sine difference. So this will be half of sine sum plus sine of difference. Sine of 4 theta plus 2 theta plus sine of 4 theta minus 2 theta. So you get half of sine 6 theta plus sine 2 theta. Please keep the parentheses because the half attaches to this as well. So keep that there. Cosine of 3 theta, cosine 5 theta. Well, cosine times cosine, let's see if we have that here, is a half of cosine sum plus cosine difference. So 1/2 of cosine of 3 theta plus 5 theta plus cosine of 3 theta minus 5 theta. Get this far, a half cosine 8 theta plus cosine negative 2 theta. But cosine is an even function, so it absorbs the negative. So you get half of cos 8 theta plus cos 2 theta. Here we have sine minus sine. The difference of sines. That's the sum to product formula. Sine minus sine is cosine of average, sine of half difference. So, twice cosine of average, 4 theta plus 2 theta over 2, sine of the half difference, 4 theta minus 2 theta over 2. And so you get 2 cosine 4 plus 2 over 2 is 6 halves, or 3. Cosine 3 theta, 4 minus 2 over 2 is 2 halves, or 2. Oh dear. Error. All right, I have to change that. That really should be number 17. Sine theta, not sine 2 theta. My apologies. I shall change it on the canvas. You have a cosine minus cosine. Well, that's a difference of cosines. It's the oddball. It's negative twice sine average, sine of half difference. So let's be careful. So cosine of pi theta over 2 minus cosine 3 theta over 2. Well, that's minus twice. Sine of the average, sine of the half difference. A half plus 3 halves over 2 is 4 halves over 2, which is 2 halves over 1. So minus twice sine theta. 1/2 theta over 2 minus 3 theta over 3 halves theta. A half theta minus 3 halves theta over 2. That's theta times a half minus 3 halves over 2. Negative 2 halves over 2 is a minus theta over 2. So minus twice sine theta, sine negative theta over 2. The negative comes outside, cancels this negative, and you get 2 sine theta over 2. Did I really mix that? No, I'm afraid so. This really should be a 1. I'll change that. Okay, we have concluded our section for today. Let's pause this.